After Bletchley Park, they moved to Ovin and Pitchcott. My father was at Bath/Cambridge during this time. They then moved to Exeter in 1950. The Reverend Milne was based at St David's and St Michael's and was chaplain to the Royal Devon and Exeter Hospital. They then moved to Braunton Sands and lived in St Anne's Parsonage between 1951 and 1954. I suspect this photo of David was taken then, and he would be between 18 and 21. I seem to remember my father mentioning that they did afternoon teas. He also mentioned that he was the first to Malibu surf in the North Coast on a coffin-lid surfboard. My father recollects that the Reverend Milne perused the church chimes, and in all they moved 14 times, so I've missed a few. However, Edith seemed to like moving. There was a story of him taking an unhealthy interest in the young girl mentioned by Jack to Pam. However, let's now focus on Edith. And what sort of personality did she have?
Oh, loving, caring, welcomed everybody, helped everybody.
Right.
And in the parish, even when after her husband had retired, she still had a place in everyone's hearts. She went to the Women's Union, things like that.
Right. She was a guider like you, wasn't she?
She was. She was a divisional commissioner, I think, in Honiton.
Well, for how long was that?
I don't know how long, because she had finished by the time I came into guiding.
Right. Did she do a lot of camping then?
Did I do camping?
Or her?
She did a lot when she was a guider.
Right.
Because she used to go away and take David and Michael with her.
Oh yeah, do you know where?
No, because this was long when they were young. Probably up round Bath way when they were living in... Actually, they went to school in Bath, but I think they were living near Bletchley before the war.
Was she very organised as a person, I presume?
Yes. Very organised, yes. She knew exactly what she was doing. She organised her home and everything. Because don't forget, by the time I knew her, she was in her late 60s.
Right, of course.
And knew exactly what she was doing. And when actually the day she died, she had a lady staying with her who was in her late 80s. Because this lady had had an operation. And Granny was looking after her. She was caring for her.
Really?
That's the sort of person she was.
Cook, did she... What's the food? Do you remember any food she cooked?
Well, nothing in particular, but it was always lovely.
Was it? What, sweets or savoury?
Oh, no, just nice, lovely lunches. And I used to go up on a Sunday.
Right.
When they lived at Kilmington, and we'd sit in the dining room and have a lovely meal and chat, you know.
Yeah, I only remember as a grandmother. How did she get on with her grandchildren?
She always had them around her. They gravitated to her because she was so welcoming. Whenever you appeared at the door, she'd be there with her arms open and gather them up and big kisses, you know. She really was a lovely lady.
And did she ever give you any advice?
Advice? She wouldn't do that. She would just listen to what I had to say. Because when I was a very young wife with a small baby, and I used to get very fed up being on my own, and I'd walk out the house and I'd walk up to Kilmington and I'd go to her house and I'd moan and I'd groan and I'd tell her all about the terrible things that David had done, and she'd listen, and then she'd turn to me and she'd say, "Yes, dear, but we do love him, don't we?"
Brilliant. Sense of humour. Did you have a good sense of humour?
Oh. Don't forget, you were going back 44 years. Yeah. I'm trying to remember things from a long time ago.
Right.
I can't remember her sense of humour as such, but that she was always a happy person. Right. Despite the way life had treated her, she was a happy person.
That's right, yeah. So sort of very even-tempered.
Yes, yes.
Right, lovely. Okay. The mother of Edith was Ada Elias Diamond, née Ferguson. She was born in 1865 in Chorleyton, Manchester, and died in 1915 in Alderley Edge, Cheshire. She married Walter Charles Diamond, who was born in 1816 in Yeovil, and they married in the Register Office in 1895. He was a gardener and left her around about 1900. So she was left alone to bring up Elizabeth Marion, born in 1888, Mary Catherine, born in 1891, and Arthur, born in 1895, with obviously Edith. She worked most of her life in St Agnes's Church School in Manchester. This is a school diary with details of her appointment. On the 1st of November 1899, she was appointed to replace a Mrs. Gould, despite not being able to sit her final teacher exams due to illness. This is the inside of the school that was pulled down in 2008. She was known as Auntie Mother by the children. Jack went to a state school for about 1 year, probably in 1933, and hated it. So Auntie Mother taught him, Margot and Paul, at her own home. She was particularly good at maths. Here's a view of the school motto, learn to do well. She had 2 brothers and 2 sisters. Frederick Duncan, born in 1856 in Kenmore, Daniel Dewar, born in 1862, who immigrated to New Zealand, Mary Peel, born in 1863, and Clara Marion, born in 1867. They were all the children of Duncan Christie Ferguson and Catherine Dewar. Duncan was a founder of the Educational Institute of Scotland. I've inquired about this, and there were 12 original members with a Ferguson amongst them. He is believed to have entered Edinburgh University at age 16 and took a doctorate in divinity. He was also believed to have founded a school in Whalley Range, Manchester, but I haven't been able to confirm this. He was born in 1860 in Killin, Tayside, and this is us visiting Killin in 2001. He married Catherine Dewar, born in 1829 at Kenmore in 1854. The Dewar Whisky Distillery isn't far, but I haven't linked the two. Back to the Heighways. This is John James and Alice Louise Heighway, née Wilmot. He was born in Wolverhampton in 1849 and she in Bilston, Birmingham in 1849. They were married in 1870 in Cannock Street Meeting House and had 13 children. The family history backwards and forwards from this time is another film or two. However, one of their children was Cecil, and he immigrated to Canada in 1911. He married Connie Rowton and had 2 children. Peggy is here with our children in 1997. She had 2 children, Lorraine and Ronald. Lorraine is here with her husband Ray Gisborne. They have 2 children, Trina and Trent, and Trina now has a little girl called Emma. Hopefully people can add to this so the Heighway story doesn't end here.